friends. Today you're going to be seeing the first review you'll have seen from me in a while. I recently read Soundless by Richelle Mead, which I will insert a picture of because immediately after I finished this my friend decided she wanted to borrow it. So it's already making its rounds. This book just came out November 10th. Richelle Mead is the author of The Vampire Academy and Bloodlines, which I'm sure you've heard of. I'm sure you know her name. This book follows a girl named Faye. Faye lives on top of a mountain in a community that is cut off from all the civilization around it. There are metals at the top of the mountain that they send down via zip line, and then the people at the bottom of the zip line give them food in exchange. And they have existed like this for generations, and they can't get down because everyone in that community is deaf. This book picks up where people in the community are starting to go blind, and so one night Faye miraculously gets her hearing back, and so she and a friend decide to go trek and go find the people that control the zip line to go figure out everything. I gave this book 4 stars. Here's why. Richelle Mead is an amazing author. Right off the bat I knew this was going to be written really well. I really enjoyed the writing style. Everything was explained beautifully, very flowy, very poetic. Why are you looking at me like that?
No, keep going. You're doing great.
I wasn't the hugest fan of Richelle Mead's other series, Vampire Academy, but I did like the writing. I liked the characters, so I knew going into this I would probably enjoy this. There are 2 things that I especially loved about this book. First is that everyone talks with sign language because everyone is deaf. I like that everything was told through sign language. It was really interesting, especially whenever there are instances where the characters were holding something and it says they couldn't talk because their hands were full, and that was just so different from anything I've ever read. I had never even considered reading a book where everyone talked in sign language. Additionally, I loved this book because I'm not sure if you saw on the cover, but the girl on the cover was Asian because this is loosely based off of Chinese folklore. There definitely are all Chinese people in this book, which I loved. I don't have the book, so I can't show you how small it is, but this book is less than 300 pages, which just didn't cut it for me. This is supposed to be a fantasy book, like I said, and the reason why this didn't work is because it needed more. For a fantasy standalone, 270 pages just did not do it justice. Everything needed to be expanded a little bit, from the world building to the small relationship that developed to especially the fantasy elements that were thrown in at the end. The good thing about it being short is that it is a really fast and easy read. I think I read this in, what, 2 days? So I flew through this and it was really action-packed and I liked it because of that. But on the other hand, there's a set of friends in this book that the entire book it says, before, whenever we were friends several years ago, this and this and this happened. It seemed very awkward that the main relationship in this book, like the 2 characters that we're seeing most of the time, most of their friendship occurred in past tense. It seemed very awkward, like there was a book missing beforehand because it kept referencing their old past friendship that they had before they went off to their separate professions in their town. This book should have just dropped that because it seems like there's some inside joke that we're not getting because we started the book at a different place than what there's being referenced. Therefore, we kind of missed a lot of relationship development because that all occurs before this book begins. That's why I thought the insta-love was kind of annoying. I can see why it would happen because there is that relationship occurring before the book begins, but still, as a reader reading a 270 page book where characters get together in that time frame, it seemed too rushed. And my rant about the fantasy elements, they weren't mentioned until they entered the book, which is one of my pet peeves because it was kind of an info dump at the end. I wish we had expanded on a little more of that Chinese folklore, I think is what is being described as the fantasy element. I wish that there was a better explanation of the mythical creatures at the beginning of the book so that at the end of the book it wasn't just a huge info dump. And I don't know if all readers will feel like this, but I was frustrated. It was just so fast because already it's kind of speeding through the end of the book, but as they're throwing info at you and as people are dying, it just seemed really awkwardly structured. So overall, I thought this book was really fast, really fun, really unique, and the writing was pretty beautiful. My only issue with it was that it was just too condensed. If this book had taken some time and maybe given it like 100 more pages, then I think I would have liked it way more. If you read this book, just don't expect to get attached to the characters because it does go by so quickly. The world is amazing. I would read more books set in that world for sure, especially if we got got to explore some other places. Like, I wouldn't mind if she expanded this into an entire trilogy or a series because it would be interesting in that world. This was just a really enjoyable read. I would recommend it, and thank you so much, Penguin Teen, for sending me a copy for review. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you liked this review, and I will see you sometime in the future. Goodbye, everyone.